A good day to all viewers of this presentation. I'm Chef Anand Mittal. I'm here to talk about kitchen equipments. Actually, not talk about kitchen equipments as much as show some kitchen equipments in these difficult times when students are not allowed to do industrial training, when we're forced to stay at home for our own safety. So I thought it may be a good idea for me to show you some kitchen equipments which we do not see in our home kitchens. This presentation aims to describe the different types of mechanical and powered kitchen equipment, to understand the functions of kitchen equipment in workflow and planning the layout of kitchens, to know that cooking in hotels is way different from how it is done at home. Way different. It is indispensable for volume catering, where large quantities are involved. Let's take an example of cutting. Now, if you want all your vegetables, all your potatoes to be cut in a certain size, here is your answer. Moving on. The next machine is the vertical cutter or the chopper. Now, this machine is an essential for all kitchens. Many manufacturers are making this machine. It is a bigger size mixie that we, or let's say a food processing machine that we have at our homes. You know, that little food processing plant. This is a huge, big size mixie, but it does not blindly puree things. It different blades are attached, and it is used for grating, cutting, chopping vegetables. It is heavy to facilitate cleaning. The bigger machines are equipped with coasters. There are small little wheels at the bottom, so it can be moved, so that cleaning of the kitchen can be done properly. Vertical cutter, also known as the chopper. Next is the vertical cutter or the chopper. This is a smaller version of the planetary mixer. It is big, huge, and is used for grating, cutting, chopping vegetables. Imagine grating. Grating used to be such a core in my time when I was a chef, or even before when I was a chef at home. When my mom had to make gajar ka halwa, she would ask me to grate those 5 kg carrots, and it was like I used to bruise my hands. My hands used to get, skin used to get grated also sometimes, and it was a task. It was a task which required a great amount of force and dedication and perseverance. So that was just 5 kgs. But in hotels, we deal with hundreds of kgs of carrots. So just imagine a party for 1,000 people and you just gajar ka halwa in it. You'll go crazy. So this is the machine which will come to your rescue. Similarly, cutting, chopping, does it magnificently, beautifully. Some of the bigger machines, now in order to clean the kitchen, the floor of the kitchen properly, some of the bigger machines are equipped with coasters, those small little wheels on the bottom, and so the machines can be easily moved forward or left, right, or whatever, cleaning. Moving on, we have the cooking range. A range means an assortment of various functions. So while we are working in the kitchen, our movement should not be as much. So we shouldn't have to move from point A to point B often. we should try to have all our cooking apparatus and all our ingredients and all our requirements in one place, so that our movements from point A to point B is very limited. Now that is the idea behind having a cooking range. A cooking range means an apparatus, a cooking apparatus, which is capable of variety of functions. Now in this picture that you see, you can see that this cooking range has burners on top. It has got an oven at the bottom. The oven also works as a griller or a salamander, a toaster, and hot plates can be placed on top of the equipments for grilling or griddling. This is the most common type of equipment which is used for cooking food. It comes in different designs. It may have an oven or storage shelves or a heating chamber. So you cook food on the top, and when it is cooked and there is a 1 hour period, waiting period for example, then you just put it in the chamber below and the food remains hot for 1 hour so that it can be served without much difficulty. It may be gas fired or electrically operated. Moving on, we have the refrigerators and the freezers. Now refrigerators and freezers are the life of a kitchen. To have a good refrigerator means you can buy in excess, you can cook well in advance, you can store foods, and the foods will remain safe for a very long time. But we must understand that when we are talking about storage, we must be very hygienically conscious, especially from the lesson that we have learned recently from C19. Separate fridges are used to store meats, fish, poultry, vegetables, and dairy products. So there will be one fridge for just for dairy products, another fridge just for seafood, yet another fridge just for red meat. So let's say lamb, maybe lamb, pork, and beef, one refrigerator for poultry, yet another refrigerator for vegetables. So this is how, and this picture that you see here may appear to be large to you, but in hotels, especially in the bigger hotels, very large refrigerators are used. We use walk-ins. Large hotels use walk-ins where the entire human being, where an entire person can walk into a room which is cold, maintained at a particular temperature. The temperature of these rooms should be monitored regularly. Every 1-2 hours, somebody should come and make note. There are different types of refrigerators and freezers which are used in hotels. They may be mobile, fixed, or reach-ins, or specialized units, which I told you just now, walk-ins. Reach-in are those in which you put your hand in, like the way it is shown. Walk-in are the ones in which you walk in. And specialized refrigerators such as fountains. There is a fountain of water. Fountains, drinking carbonated water, refrigerated spaces of about 5 degrees centigrade for whipped cream and other foods, syrup racks, ice cream machines at temperatures below minus 18 degrees centigrade. There are beverage units which are designed to chill the beverages and keep them chilled. Then water coolers like we have in our college, IHM Meerut. Then there are ice machines, Their job is just to produce ice day night. The next equipment in line here is the potato peeler. Now the potato peeler is a large drum. It is used for peeling potatoes, of course. It is a large drum which has got another drum inside it, and then water keeps pouring on the inner drum, on the sides of the inner drum. The potatoes, they go round and round inside this drum at a moderate speed. They go round and round, and there is abrasive which rubs the potatoes. So as the potatoes go round and round, the whole wall is full of abrasive, so the potato get peeled. And whatever the shape of the potatoes, by the end of the peeling process, it will turn more or less round. There is a lot of wastage, but that is alright because it is very efficient, and peeling potatoes requires a lot of effort and time. This machine takes care of peeling lots of potatoes in a very little time. The potatoes, they whirl inside under a stream of water, rub against the abrasive sides and get peeled. And then in front of the machine you see a pout. So this is when the potatoes are peeled, we just lift the, the door and the potatoes can be taken out and removed. And on the side of the table you see a pipe coming out. That is where all the stream of water which goes in, all the peel and all the dirty water gets ejected. This is the buffalo chopper. This is the best friend of the butcher and of course of the vegetable section. So the commissary kitchen, this is the equipment to use. I hope you know what is a commissary kitchen. Commissary kitchen is the mother kitchen, is the base kitchen in which all the basic functions of the kitchen are done. For example, making doughs, for example, chopping vegetables, for example, cutting meat, for example, making bread rolls and stuff, and for burgers and bread for sandwiches, and all this is done in a mother kitchen, central kitchen, commissary kitchen. For a commissary kitchen, buffalo chopper is a must. A buffalo chopper is, as you can see, it's a huge round disc, and there is a blade on top. There are a series of blades which keep moving like this, and the disc keeps revolving like this. In the first image, if you see, that disc keeps revolving like this, and then there are blades which keep moving like this. So meat, vegetables, whatever you put will get chopped as finely as you want them to be, because the bowl keeps on moving. So half of the bowl, as you can see in the other picture, half of the bowl is covered from top, and the part which is facing you is open. So as the bowl moves round and round, the vegetables or the meat or the food, you can keep inspecting it. You can keep inspecting it whether it is mashed or whether it is cut to your liking or not. And accordingly, you will let the machine run till as long as the entire stuff that you put in the machine is of the same exact size that you want it to be. So it's a beautiful machine. It does not mash foods, and it allows you to cut vegetables and meat and stuff to the degree, to the thickness, to the size that you really want. It's heavy duty, and it's a dangerous machine. You see, today we are not very worried about dangerous machines because they come with safety features. And most machines that I know of today, they won't work unless you comply with all the safety features. So if you do not twist it enough till you hear a click, it will not start. And once you hear a click, it is fully secure, and it is child proof. Child proof means that even if a child was operating it, he would not harm himself or herself. These blades that move at high speed, now these blades, they know no mercy. So these blades are totally entirely covered like you see in the second picture, so that no part of the body can, even if you want to, you cannot put that part of your body in so that it can come in touch with the moving blades. This is the ice cube machine that I was talking about, type of a refrigerator. Ice cubes are frequently required in the kitchen and in the restaurant. This is important, that we should not use glass to remove ice cubes. We should never use glass. There should be a metal scooper to pick out ice and to shovel ice and to use wherever else. Glass, anything made of glass should not be used to scoop out ice. Why? Because if broken, you will not be able to distinguish glass from ice, and you would have to throw that whole lot of ice away. If the glass breaks inside the ice cube machine, you'll have to throw the entire lot of ice cubes that you have made, and it takes some time to make ice cubes. You see, it's half an hour to make ice cubes, and the demand for ice cubes in hotels is almost continuous. So you cannot afford to decommission the machine for an hour. You'll lose a lot of business. This is the pulverizing machine. This is a mean, crazy, stupid machine. I'm sorry to use the word, but its job is to mash. Its job is to mash. So you fry onions for the onion gravy, and you mix a little curd in it, and you put it in this machine. 20 kgs, 50 kgs, 100 kgs onions in this, fried onions, and it will mash them up so well and give them to you. And heavy duty blades are used. It's a very popular commercial kitchen equipment. It serves as a dry and a wet grinder both. A dry grinder is one which is used for grinding dry items such as sugar, such as spices, such as seeds and nuts and stuff. So all that. And wet grinding is all the tomatoes and onions and ginger and stuff, wet stuff. It is used for making purees, pastes, and powders of various cooking ingredients. This is a must for every kitchen. This machine is called the Salamander. Now, a salamander is used for grilling or gratinating. Heat comes from the top. Heat comes only from the top. This rack that you see, you pull it out, put your food, shove the rack inside, switch the salamander on. In fact, the salamander is on all the time. And the heat comes from the top and the food gets cooked from the top. Some dishes finished in it are vegetable au gratin, pizza, chili cheese toast, bruschetta, etc. I remember using the salamander extensively for making papad. It is such a beautiful machine for making papad. You just put your 4, 6, 8 papads inside, shove it in, take it out, and transfer the papad to a serving dish. So 6 papad at a time, and each time it takes about 10 seconds. And the papad get broiled to perfection. Otherwise, the age-old method of cooking papad at home was you take a tong and you hold the papad and you turn it round and round and round on open flame, and then it would get burned some places and it would be raw at the other places. Just imagine having to make papad for 1,000 people, having to broil papad for 1,000 people. So this is a beautiful machine for broiling, for grilling, and for sometimes even just for heating. The next machine that we have here is the sausage making machine. Now the trouble in making sausages is that there is a very thin covering of force meat, of ground meat, a very thin tube which keeps the ground meat in one place. This covering is known as the casing. Now in this casing you have to insert with a piping bag. You have to insert meat so that it goes inside the pipe and it stays there. So a lot of force and a lot of effort is required in doing this. So a quick solution to this problem is this sausage making machine. The sausage making machine is it works like this, that you force the meat inside and the meat gets ground to the degree that is required. You see, how do you control the amount of degree to which you want the meat to be ground is by changing the plate in front to which that nozzle, white colored nozzle, is attached to the front of the sausage making machine. There is a plate behind it. Now this plate has got holes in it. So if the holes of the plate are big, then the meat will be chopped to the degree of the size of the hole, because the meat comes with a force from inside and it will keep on chopping till the time it becomes of the size of the hole of the plate, and when it gets to the size of the hole of the plate, it is ejected from the grinder and it is ejected into that white colored tube to which the tubing of the casing is applied, and when the meat is forced from the top, it grinds the meat and it forces the meat out, and the meat is then automatically put into the casing. So this kind of machine is used mostly in the Delhi is the delicatessen kitchen, the kitchen used for making sausages. Delicatessen is a term meaning delicacies or fine foods. The Italian cuisine is known for a variety of 300 types of sausages. In fact, that reminds me, this is a very long story, but I must tell you this, that sausages play a very important role in European foods. There are so many varieties and there's a huge big history of sausages which you will learn about in the third and the fourth years. This is a mincing machine used in the butchery for mincemeat and meat products. It is not attached with a nozzle, it is just a mincing machine with a plate in front. If you can see, there are holes in the plate. Now the size of the holes will determine the degree to which the meat will be minced in your machine. And as you can see, it is a very safe machine, even though it is very powerful and it is heavy duty, but it is very safe, and even if you want to, you won't be able to harm yourself. It is used in the butchery kitchen for mince meat and meat products, even though we can also mince vegetables, cooked vegetables in it. It has variously sized plates which are used to obtain fine or medium size minces. The next machine that we have for display is the slicing machine. Now a slicing machine is, as you can see, it has a big wheel which is a blade. Now this wheel keeps on going round and round at high speed. This wheel keeps going round and round at high speed, and the food is pressed from the top on the slider which you see on top right. The food is pressed and the wheel goes round and round and the food gets sliced. It is a very important machine. These days, the bigger kitchens are using automatic slicers, in which you just put the meat or put the vegetable or put whatever food you want to get sliced. You put it, you clamp it, you press a few buttons. What is the size of what is the thickness of the slice and all, and then the machine goes up and down manually, and the blade goes round and round automatically, and the slicing is done automatically. And when the slicing is done, all the meat falls into a certain way so that it stacks on top of each other. It is used in the garde manger. Garde manger is the cold kitchen, is the storage, cold storage of the hotel kitchen. Slicing machine is used for slicing salami, cold cuts, cheese, vegetables, meats, frozen meats, 1,000 things. Thickness of the slice can be adjusted. So you can get very thin slices as well as you can get medium to very thick slices as much as you want. You can even slice bread, even though it is foolish to slice bread in a slicer like this, because bread is sliced in a different kind of a slicer in which you put the whole bread, and the whole bread passes through the slicer and it gets sliced in less than a second. There are blades which are moving at high speed, and you put the bread there and you push it, and the bread just passes by. 10 seconds, it's all sliced, perfectly sliced. This is a stone grinder which is used in the Indian kitchen. There are so many things which are ground by stone. Most importantly, things that I can think of are in the South Indian kitchen. In the South Indian kitchen, they grind the rice and the dal and the coconut for chutney and so many other things by stone. And the beauty of this kind of a grinder is that it allows you to get a paste of your foods to the thickness that is not possible in any of the machines that we had shown you earlier. So a very thick paste can be obtained without much effort. As you can see, or you must have probably seen it, it has got a big piece of stone which is so heavy, so you don't have to press it because it's heavy by itself. And then there's a big drum around the stone. Now this drum around the stone keeps on going round and round and round, and the pestle stays there only. But when the drum goes round and round, the pestle moves around its own axis, and whatever food is put inside the drum, it gets ground with the help of the pestle. It is written in the second point, particularly used for making thick pastes like that for a dosa batter. Most grinders have an attachment for grating fresh coconut. Now you can see in the bottom of the grinder there is a small black round colored circle. Now what happens there is, inside the circle is a metal rod which has got spikes attached to it. So when the grinder is moving on top, this metal spike is going round and round and round. So you just take a coconut, you smash it on the floor, break it into two parts, and attach that coconut to that spike, and the spike will go inside the coconut and it will grind it. So while you're doing the dosa masala on top, you're doing the coconut chutney at the bottom. To break a coconut, to remove the things inside and to grate it is a big thing, because coconut is quite hard. But this machine makes it so simple. So you just take a coconut, you break it on the floor, or not on the floor, maybe you break it on a surface, and then now supposing there were two of these spikes, so you just put those two spikes there and they go round and round and round inside, and you get all the white coconut. The black part of the coconut does not get grated. So it is a very efficient machine, the stone grinder. The next machine for you, ladies and gentlemen, is the deck oven. It is in the picture shown. There are 4 decks. There are 4 ovens, one on top of the other. All this is done to minimize the movement of the chef and to conserve power and to conserve heat and electricity. So this is a deck oven. It is multi-storied. used for commercial bakeries. It is more fuel efficient. They occupy lesser space and allow better supervision during the baking process. Moving on, convection oven. What is a convection oven? How is it different from the other oven? Convection oven, okay, it is written here. Uniform baking is achieved all around these ovens by using hot air currents within. So how is a convection oven different from a non-convection oven? Is that a convection oven allows air currents, hot air currents. So what it means is there would be a small fan somewhere inside the oven which would keep on moving, So this fan, what it does is that it circulates the air inside the oven so that there is no hot spot in the oven, there is no cold spot in the oven. All the air is uniformly circulated in the oven. You all know that oven is a closed, airtight, closed chamber in which food is cooked with the help of hot air. Now, how do we ensure that the air remains hot throughout the oven? Is by putting a little fan somewhere inside, nicely, so that when the food is getting cooked, this fan moves round, and then all the air gets circulated evenly, so that every part of the food gets cooked evenly. It is not that the part which is towards the door will get cooked more and the part which is towards the back will get cooked less. No, the entire food will get cooked uniformly. It is specially used for pies, roasts and pizzas. Mostly used in continental kitchens, and they may come attached with cooling racks. You can see at the bottom of the oven, of the convection oven, there is a cooling rack. Now what is a cooling rack? A cooling rack is an apparatus in which we put our baked products so that they cool down before we can pack and store them. Why is it important to cool them before packing? Is because if we pack them hot, they will deteriorate, they will spoil fast, and plus they will not dry out, they will become soggy and moist. So we first have to dry them out, cool them down. Now things like cakes, you will be surprised to know, not cakes as much, but bread. We are not supposed to cut bread for as many as 2 hours after baking. It is cut only after much more than 2 hours of baking. It has to first cool down to the room temperature and then it is cut. Similarly, cakes. If you make a cake and cut it while it is hot, you will see that it is all crumbly and the slice is not even, and it is very difficult to slice because some slices will become thick, some slices will become thin. But if you cool it down sufficiently, you will see that it is so easy to slice. And if you put it in the refrigerator, if you put a baked cake in the refrigerator and chill it, and after chilling, when you cut it, it comes out like a dream. Even slices, absolutely perfect, fantastic. The next equipment in the series of ovens is the rotary oven. This has caught the rage recently. A rotary oven is one which, like the salamander, heats from the one side. So there is the wall which is hot and the food is, for example, the chicken that is shown here are skewered in a rod and the chicken keep on rotating. So this rotary oven is doing spit roasting. Now what is spit roasting? Spit roasting is when we dig a pit, we light a fire, we erect two rods and then we skewer our food and we cook the food on the rod. And then we keep moving the rod round and round. So spit roasting is when we cook food outdoors in a spit. A spit is a fire on the earth. This fire reaches the food and the food is rotated round and round on top of the fire. It is basted with oil frequently. So this is what spit roasting is. Now this machine, it enables spit roasting to be done inside the premises. So you don't have to build a fire to spit roast. You can use a rotary oven to spit roast. It is automated, temperature and time control. So the speed at which the chicken will go round and round can be controlled. The temperature of the oven can be controlled. It is automatic. And the time duration. So when the oven is going to switch off, when the circulator is going to switch off, it's all programmable. This type of roasting is called spit roasting. It is used for poultry, not for meats as much as for poultry, because poultry doesn't take a very long time to cook. This is a combi oven, a combination of convection oven and steam cooker. Cooking by steam has caught the rage today, and steaming is a very healthy process of cooking. This is an oven which can work as a steamer also. There are buttons on the left hand side, and we can determine there is a tank, there is provision for the machine to generate steam. So if we want it to act like a convection oven, it will do so, and if we want to steam foods, it can do so also. It is used in all cuisines. This is the bain-marie. Bain-marie is an equipment which is commonly used in industrial catering for feeding large number of people, especially in cafeterias, especially in places where food is served to a large volume of people. It is used for keeping food hot. How it works is that this big box that you see in front of you, it contains a lot of water, and this water is kept at a certain temperature, and you can monitor the temperature by the three lights which are shown in front: green, red and orange. Now if you want to keep the food very hot, you want a certain temperature. If you want to see whether the machine is working or not, so if the green light is on, so it's very easy to operate. The food which has to be kept hot is put in containers, and those containers are put inside the bain-marie. So the food does not get in touch with the water. It is the container which gets heated by the hot water below it. You can see in the picture there are 5 containers, 5 lids kept on top. 5 containers in which large quantities of foods, dals, soups, vegetables, any kind of food can be kept in this, sweets, desserts, whatever, and the food will remain hot for a very long time. This is a brat pan or a tilting pan. It is a large pan, like the frying pan we have, small little frying pan. This is a large pan, but you cannot move it or shake it. It is very heavy. You put a little oil and you put your foods in it, and you can cook it the same way as you would cook in a frying pan. It is used for large quantities of foods. It has got means by which it can be controlled temperature, and if you want to remove food, you don't have to lift the food, you just tilt the pan. So this is the pan in which food is getting cooked, and once it is cooked, you just tilt the pan like the way we have those dumper trucks. You tilt the pan and you keep a pot underneath, so all the food comes down to the pot. Now if you want to fill water, for example, if I say make pulao for 1,000 people, now you take a brat pan, this pan, you put a little oil, you saute a little jeera, you put rice, you saute a little rice with your left hand. You don't even have to use a right hand. With your left hand, you saute a little rice, and then there's a tap on top. So you open the tap and it fills with water. So you don't have to lift buckets of water and pour in the brat pan. You see? So you fill the water, and then once the water is up to a certain level, you switch off the pan, and then you put the lid on. To put the lid on, it is attached to the brat pan, you see. So all you have to do is to hold the handle and just gently pull it down so the lid closes. When the rice is cooked, you open the lid, you test the rice, you move it a little bit, then you turn the brat pan, so the whole brat pan tilts like this, and then you put a pot underneath and all the food gets collected. It can be electrical or gas operated. It may be used for braising, shallow frying or sauteing, and it is used mainly in quantity kitchens, flight kitchens, industrial kitchens, banquets, school cafeterias, factories, philanthropic organizations such as gurudwaras and all, brat pans are used. This is a tilt boiler. This is also an invaluable piece of equipment in the kitchen. A tilt boiler is a double walled heated by steam. Now what is the significance of double wall and what is the significance of steam? Double wall is required so that steam may circulate within the walls. You see, if you have double walled and steam goes inside, then what happens is that the entire entire boiler remains heated for a very long time, for as long as you want. And why steam is used? Why not gas or electricity used? Because steam has the property of not rising the temperature above 100 degrees centigrade. The highest temperature that steam can produce is 100 degrees centigrade. So there is no risk of burning, and all burning happen above 140 degrees centigrade. I mean, most burnings happen above 140 degrees centigrade. So there is no chance of food getting burned. So suppose you put something and you forget about it, it is not going to get burned. This is particularly, from my personal experience, I would like to tell you that it is particularly useful in boiling of milk. Now when you get 100 kgs of milk, 100 liters of milk, and somebody says please boil it, it means a lot of effort. It means 2 hours of standing on the range and moving the milk, because what happens is when there is a large quantity of milk, it tends to burn at the bottom. So you have to keep moving it. You must have seen, keep moving the milk, and it is tedious and it is time consuming. And the minute you stop looking at the milk, it will boil over. You just turn around for a minute, somebody calls your name, you turn around a bit, and then when you turn around, you see your milk is falling all over. And you don't know what to do. You've been working so hard all this while and the milk falls over and then you cut a sorry figure. So this is a perfect machine for that. Just put your milk in, time it and forget it. Even if the timer doesn't work, or even if there is high voltage and the machine boils the milk say 10 minutes before time, even then there is no problem, because the milk is not going to boil over and it is not going to stick to the bottom. It is not going to get burnt. It is used in commercial kitchens. It is used for making soups, sauces, soups. It is a miracle machine for making soups, because soups, they get burnt so quickly, so quickly. This is a griddle and oven combo, like I showed you earlier. Cooking range, which was a gas and oven combo. This is a griddle. Griddle is a flat plate. It can be flat or it can be grooved. It is used for grilling, pan frying and roasting or baking. It forms an integral part of the continental and the Indian kitchen. The griddle is very thick, 3 inches, very thick, so that uniformity of heat, so that the food gets cooked uniformly. You see, the difference between home cooking and commercial cooking is this, that in home cooking our equipments are not as efficient. Why can't we get the kind of color that we get in a restaurant, food color that we get in the restaurant at home? Because of equipments. If we use a 3-inch thick plate at home, we'll also get the same color at home without a shade of doubt. This is a deep fat fryer, ladies and gentlemen. It is a big tub in which oil is put, cooking oil is put. The oil is heated electrically or by gas, and then there are baskets in which we put our foods. There are baskets in which we put our foods, and we immerse them in hot fat. And when the food is sufficiently cooked, and we can turn the food by shifting the baskets. So no ladles, no scoops, nothing are required. Just the basket. You put your food in the basket, immerse the basket in food, turn the basket a little bit. When it reaches the right color, take it out, drain it nicely, and turn the food over. They come in single or multiple tanks. They are gas fired or electrically operated, temperature controlled, no problem. The only thing that you must remember is that you must keep straining the oil frequently, because what happens is food residues which remain in the oil, they tend to discolor, they tend to deteriorate the quality of the cooking oil, and they tend to deflavor or disflavor the food, provide bad flavor to the food. So what you should do is you should keep on straining it frequently. So every 1 or 2 hours of cooking you must strain it, and they are kept at a certain temperature so that whenever the guest order comes, all you have to do is blindly pick your food and dump it in them. Now what happens in a kadai is the kadai, it gets heated too quickly, it gets cooled down too quickly, so there's no way you can regulate. Now this is an excellent machine for deep frying, that you can keep it at a certain temperature for a very long time, and you don't have to worry about whether the oil is hot or the oil is cold, because there is a thermostat which will maintain. It is indispensable for fast food kitchens and for quantity kitchens. Indispensable. इसके बिना नहीं गुजारा. The next slide talks about holding cabinets. They can be hot or cold, used extensively in banquets or function catering. They help to keep food, breads, and crockery hot and cold for the entire length of the service period, up to 3 hours. They look like a fridge, but they are holding equipment. Holding means keeping. Keeping means to store cooked foods, whether it is hot or cold, because at the time of service, supposing there are 300 people in your restaurant, now each one of them want their drink to be chilled. Every one of your guests want their soup to be steaming hot. Now, how is it possible to serve 100 people steaming hot soup simultaneously? Because of this machine and because of the Bain Marie. These are two very important serving tools. I mean, machines which help in the proper service of food. See, temperature of food is very important. In fact, one of the most important things I would say would be the temperature of food. All food should be served at the correct temperature. If it is supposed to be served at room temperature, then it should be room temperature. If it is supposed to be served chilled, it should be chilled. If it is supposed to be served cold, it should be cold. And if it is supposed to be hot, it should be steaming hot. Otherwise, don't serve it. This is the deep freezer, the chest deep freezer, in which you put your chest in and you pick out stuff from inside, a large big thing. That is the end of this session. I hope I didn't keep you for long. A quick recap. Now you are able to visualize the different types of kitchen equipments, explain the functions of the kitchen equipment in workflow and cooking operations, see the degree of cleanliness that is required in the modern hotel kitchen. You saw so many kitchen equipments. Did you see the cleanliness, the amount of hygiene that is used? All the equipments were shining. Now I would like to show you this book. I think you have it, and there is a detailed chapter on kitchen equipments. There's a detailed chapter on kitchen equipments. Please go through it. While I'm going through it, I must tell you that in this book I have classified kitchen equipments into 7 types. The first type is cooking equipment. The second type is preparation equipment. Cooking is garam cooking, and preparation is kaatna, chilna, dhona, and all that. So that is preparation equipment. The third type is storage equipment. The fourth type is pots, pans, bowls, and trays. Pots, pans, bowls, and trays. The fifth is measuring equipment. The sixth is small handheld equipment such as knives and ladles and all. Handheld equipment. And the last one is safety equipment. Equipment which is used for keeping safety in the kitchen, such as the fire extinguisher, such as the hood which extracts all the smoke and fumes from the kitchen, hood which is kept on top of the gas range. So that is a safety equipment. And the first aid box, which is also a safety equipment. So in this book, I have classified kitchen equipment into 7 classifications, and all these equipments that I showed you fall in one or the other of those 7 categories, and there is no 8th category of kitchen equipments. Having said that, I would like to bring today's session to a close. Thank you very much to all the viewers for being with me for all this while. May God bless you. And just before I leave, I must tell you to be safe, to stay at home, and to develop yourself progressively. God bless you. Bye-bye.